I must say, the old record collection doesn't get used much anymore. I don't even have a turntable. Still, there are some gems here that I'd hate to part with, and others I couldn't even give away. Not to worry, this doesn't have to go into the trash just yet. I'm going to show you how it can keep your kids amused for hours by turning it into a board game. Start with 2 coats of white gesso on one side only to prime the surface. When that's dry, you need to draw a spiral design, starting from the centre and working your way out to the edge. And of course, there'll be a pattern for this with the fact sheet. Next, mark up your playing squares. There are 35 in total. Then you can add some colour. As you can see, I've outlined all the blue using a black marker, and I've also numbered each of the squares. Now it's time to make the playing pieces, which I'll whip up using plaster and some craft moulds. First up, smear a little petroleum jelly in the moulds so that the pieces will come away easily when they're set. Then you can get on with mixing the plaster. The consistency should be smooth and lump-free. And remember, this stuff will set quickly, so you shouldn't muck around for too long. When you're happy with the mix, spoon it into the moulds, being careful not to overfill them. A gentle tap on the tabletop should remove any trapped air bubbles, as well as level out the plaster. After about half an hour or so, the pieces should come out easily. Like that. Next, give all your shapes a light sand around the edges and follow with some paint to bring them to life. Then for a centrepiece, fix the Lifebuoy to the board with some glue. Finally, a coat of water-based sealer on everything and you're ready to rock and roll. A simple counting game for youngsters where they can be creative with their own rules.
You will have seen us using Murobond on the show before as an exterior paint. It's cement-based, easy to apply and gives an aged look. But what is becoming very popular, and perhaps you hadn't considered before, is using it as an interior paint.
It can be sponged or ragged, and it's usually sanded back through to give it a stretch finish.
Here at the Douglas Street Design Centre in Brisbane, they hold regular classes to show you the kinds of finishes you can achieve. The classes are held here and in Western Australia, but I thought I'd show the rest of you some of the techniques they're being taught. It's best to wear gloves as it can irritate the skin, and goggles if you're working above head height. It's also a good idea to wet the wall down with a mist spray to stop the paint from going gluggy on hot days. The thing with this paint is the rougher the stroke, the better the look. Be sure you work towards a wet edge. In other words, the last stroke should be still wet, so when you apply the next one, it won't leave a line. If you're after a more ragged, dragged-out look, follow the first coat with a banister brush. Although this product was originally designed for rendered surfaces, as you can see, it'll go on a plasterboard as well as bricks and masonry surfaces. But a neat trick, if you've got a smooth wall and you want to get a chunky rendered finish, just add a bit of sand to the paint. Then there's stippling. Do a small area with a patchwork of one colour, then dab around it with a lighter colour, and with a third brush, blend them together. Stab and twist. This gives a sort of sandstone effect. So there you have it, a few tips for you. Now, if you're interested in using this kind of product, all you have to do is get hold of your local franchise. They'll send out a rep that can give you some advice on what you can do with your place.
Coming up a bit later, how to cook a great meal when you don't have a kitchen.